So, hello everyone. I'm Ilse Zīverte. I'm honored to serve as a project manager at Joint Secretariat of Interreg Latvia Lithuania Programme. And as you saw in our previous videos, program priorities, specific objectives, and supported activity list has not changed. And as we all know, reading program manual is not most exciting thing to do. And actually, several changes are done in specific rules related to each specific objective. And also there are changes for mandatory outputs and results. And that's why I'm here today for you. I will show you a short summary about all changes. And also I have prepared with my help of my colleagues some information about most common mistakes which were related to each specific objective during previous call, and we can give and make some solutions and recommendations from those changes. So let's dive in. First slide is just informative for you. In this slide with green pluses, you see that for the first priority and the second priority, now actually we even have more available funding than during first call. And unfortunately, for the third priority and fourth priority, we have less money. However, we still can approve approximately 7 projects for third priority and approximately 6 projects for fourth priority. And don't be afraid to participate, especially if you have very innovative, original, valuable ideas. And let's move to the next slide about specific objective 1.1. During first call, it was mandatory to achieve output organizations cooperating across borders with respective result organizations cooperating across borders after project completion. But now, during second call, it's mandatory also achieve second output, which is pilot actions developed jointly and implemented in project with respective result, solutions taken up or upscaled by organizations. So those projects who participated during first call and try to improve your application form, don't forget about this factor. And one has another specific rule which was changed for specific objective 1.1. Now we have limitations which are right now as recommendations that purchase of equipment should not exceed 20% of total project budget. This specific rule for specific objective 1.1. And in this slide, I just wanted to inform you that and now we have improved explanation of what does it mean pilot action and what does it mean solution. And you can find it in Program Manual Annex 1. You can see with red letters, this is additional information with comments. And also it was already during first call, but I still want to remind you that if you need to indicate output pilot actions, that you should understand and know that pilot action should be jointly developed and jointly implemented during the project by both partners from Latvia and Lithuania. And when your pilot action is implemented and you have ready solution, then solution should be this information about the upscaling of solution should be documented in some internal documents, for example, internal strategies, action plans, by adapting organization. And you can indicate this information in application form in description of results, in which documents you will document this. About most common mistakes for the specific objective 1.1. There were several projects who had very strong emphasis on purchase of equipment, but they didn't have specific joint cooperation activities. And please be aware that for specific objective 1.1, you should know that purchase of equipment is eligible only if it's it will serve for joint cooperation activities. You should link your indicated equipment and budget with some joint cooperation activities in your work plan, and explain in which joint cooperation activities you will need to use this equipment. Otherwise, this equipment will not be eligible. Another mistake, planned activities are not related to any indicated cross-border challenge. Please check twice whether your indicated activities are actually related to your indicated challenges, cross-border problems. Durability. This is a very important topic actually for all specific objectives, and you should understand that we are expecting projects who bring long-term impact to the program territory, and those benefits will continue after project completion. And in situations when project is planning to purchase some or develop some new IT solutions, for example, some app solutions, please make market research and indicate what you have found and you decided, and why you need this new app and why similar apps are not the solution for you, and describe this information in your application form. About trainings, specifically for SO11, it's important that training of basic skills is not eligible. Please be aware about this specific rule. Now let's move to specific objective 2.1 and 2.2. There are changes for specific objective 2.1. Similar as for objective 1.1, now it's mandatory also to achieve output indicator, pilot actions developed jointly and implemented in project with respective result, together with other mandatory output organizations cooperating across borders with respective result. And about specific rules for both SO21 and SO22, now program highly recommends to supplement projects with awareness raising activities. And also there's one improvement in specific rules for specific objective 2.2. In cases when project is planning investments for especially for activity, joint solutions for preservation of nature capital that are used for recreation purposes, in no cases those investments should aim at attracting visitors or tourists. And clear and concise information of specific natural values should be indicated, and also expected environmental effects should be explained. And also it's very highly recommended to submit some letters of support from relevant institutions or experts to justify planned investments. Now about common mistakes. It's interesting that especially for this priority, it was sometimes it was very difficult to understand whether those activities actually are related to priority. And please be specific and explain why do you think that your activities will bring some impact to priority 2, and don't mix up, for example, tourism priority with environmental priority. Another problem, absence of supporting data showcasing problem importance in project territory. Please be specific and indicate some statistical data or some research to justify your indicated problem. Missing cross-border cooperation activities. For this specific objective 2.1 and 2.2, it's very important that you plan cross-border activities, since there are specific rules that focus should be on joint cross-border activities. Unclear scope and implementation steps for applied research activities. For this problem, we can suggest please divide your research activity in separate measurable steps and indicate them as measurable deliverables under related activity. Issues with durability and dissemination of developed project documents. As you saw on previous slide, program now highly recommends to plan those awareness raising activities and inform about your project results as much as possible. In cases when a project is planning activities to improve environmental quality, please specify plots and selection criteria, why exactly those plots you choose to improve. And in cases when you plan purchase of equipment, then you should explain how exactly and indicate measurable goals which you will achieve if you purchase this equipment. Another problem, lack of clarity on activity scope and steps for implementation. You can solve this as the same as research. You should divide your planned activities in smaller measurable steps and indicate them as deliverables. For management of recreation areas under SO22, measures lack assurance. They preserve ecosystems rather than attract visitors. Please check whether your project is related to tourism activity, or if you apply for this specific objective 2.2, you should make your focus on environmental improvement, not attracting tourism. Specific information on protected spaces or ecosystems missing. Be as specific as possible, and please explain for us what exactly are you going to preserve, which spaces and which protected areas. Next slide about specific objective 3.1. Actually, for this priority, we have less changes. We have just improved program terms. What does it mean social service, and what does it mean social inclusion measure? And actually, it's very related to most common mistakes, which is this slide. So one of mistakes was that it's impossible to understand whether project is going to develop some social services or social inclusion measures. It's very important for assessors to understand what's your goal, because we need to assess whether you are correctly registered. Okay, next to other problem, insufficient cooperation activities among stakeholders. The same as for priority 2, actually for all priorities, projects should focus on cooperation activities. Lack of clear explanations regarding the intended project outcomes. Yes, there were several projects which indicated they are planning, for example, social service. It's understandable for us, but they indicate just one short title of this social service, or maybe information where they get this idea to develop such a service, but there's no explanation what benefits it will bring to target auditory and how actually it will be organized, who will do this job, and how actually it will work. Absence of detailed plans for utilizing developed documents. The same as for all priorities, actually, if you develop some documents, for example, some guidelines, how to use some social service or inclusion measures, then please explain also who, when, during and after project will use this developed documents, and also plan some activities in which you teach other stakeholders or your employees how to use these developed documents. Vagueness in disseminating project results among stakeholders for replication or upscaling purposes. Just plan more informative activities where you inform stakeholders or your employees about the developed results of the project. Now about last priority, tourism priorities with specific objective 4.1. Actually, this is the only priority in which we have changed a little bit list of activities supported, and changes are very small but important. So we added this word joint, and now we just wanted to emphasize that the program is waiting for joint tourism products, and the same changes are for the specific rules. This is one sentence is improved with additional words that developed tourism products must be joint. So you understand. I hope you understand this emphasis. This that we are expecting for those joint tourism products. It's not enough that each project partner develops some tourism site, but those sites are not connected. You should think about one common thematic field or some other solutions to make it a joint product. And another improvement, reformulation of a specific rule for tourism activity for the one-off touristic attraction activities. Now it's more clearly described that if those one-off touristic activities are not linked to the project specific and or communication objectives, then such activities will not be supported. And now slide with only recommendations, no mistakes. We just want to recommend you to think about more original, more innovative ideas, and maybe you can organize some brainstorming sessions with your local creative people, which I believe you have, and try to think about really original ideas because creativity is a key for this priority. And focus on joint cross-border tourism products. This is related to the previous slide. I already explained it to you. And even if you have this joint, for example, tourism route developed, think for unifying elements and clear strategy, how you will attract tourists and explain it. And try to support your project idea with some facts, especially if you try to implement some idea which was very popular in some old historically rich country or city, and you try to invent the same idea in rural areas. Please justify your idea. How do you imagine how it will work? Why it will attract tourists? And of course, ensure durability of the produced outputs and results. And it's very important for all priorities, but especially for tourism, of course. Explain who and how will support financial and institutional maintaining of the outputs or deliverables after project completion. Explain physically who will be able to show this developed tourism site. Will you have enough employees and financial possibilities to continue it? Or maybe think about new innovative solutions. How can you open it to tourists available without a physical person sitting at this place? So, and now you see in this slide, this picture actually explains why we have improved this specific rule. Actually, for all priorities related to situations when project is planning to develop some documents, we are expecting that you will clearly explain and outline why this document is needed, what's the purpose of document. Explain which will be the audience of those documents, who will use it, and how the documents will be utilized during the project and after the project. And add a supporting letter from stakeholders who support, and try to include in this support letter information how exactly those stakeholders will use those documents, why it's necessary. It's not enough that you inform in those support letters that, yes, we support your project. You should explain why these documents are necessary for those stakeholders, because we really don't want to have this become true that your developed documents stay in some shells. We want that you practically use them and you need them, or some stakeholders use them. And a last slide, also some improvements for all specific objectives in specific rules. When if stakeholders who would directly benefit from the project results are not involved, you should provide explicit information in application form who will use those results during and after the project, and explain clearly who, how, when, and justify it with stakeholder support letters, who again justify when and how they will use it. That's it from me. I hope I helped you somehow and my presentation was useful. Thank you very much for your attention.